secret satellites, Death Stars, the weaponization of outer space. Are governments the world over preparing for an alien attack? And if so, why are we being kept in the dark? Despite decades of UFO sightings and alien abductions, the United States government has maintained a single, unwavering position about the existence of extraterrestrials: denial. Evidence of aliens among us continues to mount, but no government on Earth will go on record and admit that aliens exist. Do they fear mass panic? Or are they hiding an even darker secret? The United States is the most powerful nation on Earth. But what if its rise to power came from being aided by an alien race? And what if these extraterrestrials have alien enemies of their own? Tonight, we unseal the most shocking conspiracy of all time: the global threat of a possible alien attack. What if the history you were taught in school was all a lie? Is our government controlled by a secret society? Welcome to the world of conspiracy, where cover-ups, secrets, and hidden agendas all trace back to a single source. We're about to unseal the secret files the government doesn't want you to know about. This is Unsealed: Conspiracy Files. September 17th, 2012. Reports surface of a highly unfriendly extraterrestrial threat, jeopardizing a vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, from the coast of California to Alaska. Naval forces from the United States and China are said to have launched a joint counteroffensive. Officially, the Navy denies the battle, claiming the massive mobilization is a planned training exercise codenamed Valiant Shield. But the mission appears to be a counterattack against an unidentified enemy. What possible threat could unite these rival superpowers?
I think it's rather obvious that the United States military and government would keep it a secret if there was a conflict or connection between them and extraterrestrials. I think the reason is simple: fear.
A leaked memorandum about the Pacific incident reveals the opposition is extraterrestrial and extremely aggressive. The threat represents a clear and present danger to the United States. Any attempt to verify these operations will lead to fatal consequences. Are world governments hiding a secret war against extraterrestrials in the Pacific? Many experts believe that aliens have already established bases on Earth. A secret meeting between the CIA and President Ronald Reagan may have revealed the truth about an enemy alien force mobilizing around the world. Unsealed case file: The Reagan Briefing. On March 6, 1981, CIA Director William Casey allegedly debriefs President Reagan on the Roswell UFO incident. Casey's message is clear: Roswell was real. We are not alone. According to Casey, 2 UFOs crashed near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. The corpses of 9 dead aliens were recovered from the wreckage, along with 1 lone survivor. The briefing goes on to detail 4 decades of human-alien relations. According to Casey, the sole extraterrestrial survivor of the Roswell crash worked directly with the CIA and military for 5 years. But what the U.S. learned from the alien remains a mystery to this day.
It appears that every time there's this major leap in technology, that somehow, somewhere, there's a reported alien encounter lurking in the background. And the biggest story about this is the 1947 crash of a UFO outside of Roswell, New Mexico.
Casey's report contains a final bombshell. At least 5 different alien species have visited Earth, one of which was classified as an HAV, a hostile alien visitor. Are hostile alien visitors planning an attack on Earth? And if so, what do world governments plan to do about it? Coming up next, we expose a secret treaty with aliens and reveal the most chilling extraterrestrial crimes against humanity. Could the CIA be starting a secret alien war?
Unsealed. Conspiracy Files. Welcome back to the world of conspiracy. This is Unsealed. Conspiracy Files.
Reports of an alien threat in the Pacific. Top secret presidential debriefings. Is the United States government hiding knowledge of aliens? Unsealed case file. The Greada Treaty. Washington, D.C., 1954. President Eisenhower enlists the help of a top-secret UFO investigation committee called the Majestic 12 to send a binary message into space with the intention of communicating with aliens. The message is allegedly received by an alien race called the Greys. Gray-skinned, black-eyed humanoids from a planet in the Zeta Reticuli star system, some 39 light-years away from Earth. Their initial response is positive, and a series of secret meetings is arranged on Earth. The result of this historic summit is an agreement known as the Greada Treaty.
There was some sort of treaty that was signed whereby they could take some humans for abduction, experimentation, but they had to be returned safely. In exchange, the Greys would give us some technology. We do know that there was this sort of quantum leap in technology during that time, where we went from just having tubes to solid state to fiber optics and night vision in literally 20 years' time.
Did President Eisenhower and the CIA make a dire mistake by allowing alien Greys to abduct humans? And how far did the Greys go with their experiments? One of the earliest studies conducted on the subject of alien abductees revealed thousands of victims in the United States. A study done in 2011 on U.S. missing persons reports a staggering 700,000 Americans have simply vanished with no explanation. Is it possible the Greys have been probing our weaknesses to one day exploit them on the battlefield? The U.S. government may have made a deal with a hostile alien species. But not every American leader turned a blind eye to the dangers of secret dealings with aliens and the possibility of invasion. In a 1962 speech, General Douglas MacArthur openly addresses the concept of an alien war.
We deal now not with things of this world alone. We speak in strange terms of harnessing the cosmic energy of ultimate conflict between the united human race and the sinister forces of some other planetary galaxy.
Why would MacArthur comment on such a top-secret matter unless he was convinced such a conflict was possible? By the 1970s, insider reports showed abduction rates skyrocketing to 100,000 per year. Victims report a terrifying variety of experiments, ranging from mind alteration and sexual assault to cloning. It's a far cry from the non-harmful experiments outlined in the Greada Treaty. 1977, the White House. President Jimmy Carter reportedly receives a stack of files on experiments conducted by aliens on humans at Dulce Base, New Mexico. In response, he allegedly sends out an executive order to terminate all such experiments.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the Dulce base and what goes on there. It's this secret underground base with many levels where they do all this experimentation with alien genetics and radiation that's been going on for years. And it's one of these things that, again, lives part in legend and part in some eyewitness testimony.
The Carter administration is warned that any attempt to shut down the base will be met with fierce resistance. September 1979. Brigadier General Harry C. Aderholt reportedly forms a team of Delta Force, Navy SEALs, and Air Force Special Ops Command to launch an assault on the Dulce base. Could a secret assault on alien rebels deep within Dulce Base lead to a covert war between the United States and an entire alien race? Unsealed case file. Assault on Dulce.
This base is said to have 7 levels. The level of experimentation and mutilation even gets worse and worse as you descend to the 7th level. And supposedly the 7th level is where all kinds of unnatural things have been taking place that would terrify the most hardened criminal.
A classified report, believed by many CIA sources to have been written by Ader Holt himself, details the assault on Dulce Base. The report describes horrifying alien creations, 6-legged humans, humanoid beings, and vats filled with human body parts. In total, the assault team is believed to have rescued over 30,000 human captives.
If any U.S. base, underground or not, was housing extraterrestrials, there would be some kind of conflict at some point, especially if there was no oversight and we were doing all this crazy stuff and trying to build maybe a super soldier or find a new bioweapon. I think that's just asking for trouble.
Where did these people come from, and how did they end up at Dulce Base? As many as 2,300 Americans are reported missing every day. Over 700,000 Americans each year. Many people disappear in remote areas, never to be heard from again. Are the FBI and CIA covering up the disappearances to honor America's part of the Greada Treaty? Military authorities are reported to have ordered Dulce Base closed for good after the 1979 assault, putting an end to its secret alien operations. But in 1993, after over a decade of silence, new evidence reveals Dulce's alien operations have resumed. And these reports are backed up by some disturbing new statistics. In 1980, the year after the assault on Dulce, 150,000 people went missing in the United States alone. The ensuing decades would see that number skyrocket, reaching nearly 1 million in 2012. Is it a sign the aliens are stepping up their efforts in preparation for a full-scale attack on Earth? While aliens may be preparing for a global invasion, how far will governments go to protect alien interests over our own? Up next, we reveal America's top secret agenda to build weapons with alien technology gained as a result of the Greada Treaty. But at what cost?
Unsealed. Conspiracy Files. Welcome back to the world of conspiracy. This is Unsealed. Conspiracy Files.
High and low frequency sound devices, psychological weaponry, smart bombs, stealth technology. Is the U.S. government developing an arsenal to fend off an alien attack? In just 100 years, humanity went from the horse and musket to spaceflight and nuclear weapons. The United States would benefit greatly from its technological superiority in the decades that followed. But how have these giant scientific and technological leaps been made possible? And have these leaps come at a secret and disturbing cost?
There were 2 immediate jumps in technology after the Roswell crash. There was the invention and the patenting of the transistor, and there was the development of the metal called titanium.
Experts believe the cost of building and maintaining a fighting force to combat aliens armed with advanced technology would be astronomical. Yet, in recent years, statistics reveal some disturbing trends. From 1998 to 2012, U.S. defense spending tripled from $300 billion to over $900 billion per year. But the allocation of the money is virtually untraceable, hidden within a deep black ops budget. Matching an enemy's weapons capability is a well-known primary war strategy. It's what drove the proliferation of nuclear weapons during the Cold War. Could the United States be locked in another arms race, desperately trying to catch up to a more advanced and heavily armed alien enemy? The U.S. and other powerful international governments spend billions of dollars on secret projects, totally hidden from public knowledge. Unsealed case file. The Star Wars program. March 23rd, 1983. President Ronald Reagan announces the defining military program of his presidency, the Strategic Defense Initiative, otherwise known as SDI, or the Star Wars Project.
NASA got involved with a lot of Department of Defense classified programs. So they're out there launching $3, $4, $5, $6 million classified satellites into space.
The infamous Star Wars program gives the American military the ability to launch missiles from space against targets here on Earth. But few pay heed to the notion that it also gives the United States the capacity to launch against targets in space. Star Wars represents the first line of defense against an alien attack. But why would governments hide the existence of extraterrestrial threats?
If you look at the history of UFOs and nuclear weapons, there seems to be a message of, we know you're playing with fire, we're here watching it, and we can shut you down anytime we feel like it.
Experts believe the first wave of an interplanetary attack would target facilities housing weapons similar to their advanced alien technology. Likely targets would include Dulce Base, Area 51, and even the Pentagon itself. Coming up, the shocking truth about those who believe a secret alien attack on Earth is coming. High-ranking officials step forward to tell the truth, and their warnings are dire.
Unsealed Conspiracy Files. Welcome back to the world of conspiracy. This is Unsealed Conspiracy Files.
The time to act is now. There are 3 simple steps you can take to unseal the truth.
Follow on Twitter.
Follow the Unsealed Twitter feed to receive breaking news of the latest conspiracies as they develop.
Tell your story.
What did you see that you shouldn't have?
The government's known about it all along. Why has nobody told us?
Upload stories and pictures to our interactive map.
Join the movement.
Get the Unsealed bracelet and the unique code hidden underneath to access exclusive content. Stop living in the dark. Get involved in the fight to unseal the truth. Now. For decades, world governments have remained silent on their knowledge of aliens. Total denial is the standard response. But a few maverick officials have bravely chosen to break the silence about alien activity here on Earth, often at the risk of their own lives. In 2010, former Canadian Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer broke protocol by stating, "The reality is that aliens have been visiting Earth for decades, and probably millennia, and have contributed considerably to our knowledge."
Paul Hellyer claimed to have seen evidence of alien and human interaction while in office. He also shared information about the United States that could very well expose the idea that we are preparing for an epic War of the Worlds.
Hellyer believes the speed of American weapons development may be linked to alien technology, and as a result, humanity is advancing too quickly for its own good. Did America's insatiable desire for advanced weapons in the 1950s sow the seeds of an intergalactic war? Is this a war that future generations will have to fight? The ultimate consequence of our secret dealings with aliens remains unknown. But Hellyer is not the only person with knowledge of world government secret involvement with aliens. There are others who know the truth. Some may be too afraid to speak out, while others may have already been silenced.
Unsealed Conspiracy Files.
Could Earth's armed forces be facing a new enemy that is literally out of this world?
We have only to open our eyes to see how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
From UFO dogfights to acts of alien aggression against the planet's most powerful weapons of mass destruction, we will expose military evidence that could prove world governments have long been preparing for the next great global conflict, a real-life war of the worlds. Tonight, we present surprising cases of alien engagement and their cover-ups. Join us as the secrets of aliens and the military are unsealed. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. The coast of Northern California, September 17th, 2012. The online newspaper Veterans Today reports a shocking military action. According to a leaked classified memo, warships from the United States and China have joined forces in the Pacific. Their target is cited as a highly unfriendly extraterrestrial threat. Normally at odds, the unlikely alliance raises fears of a doomsday scenario.
When you look at the evidence, if the planet Earth were to ever face an invasion from an extraterrestrial race, and it really wouldn't be a war between this country and that country. Those boundaries would fade away, and that we would have to come together and fight that war together.
The U.S. government has not confirmed the story, nor does it acknowledge that any evidence of alien spacecraft exists. But if there is no clear and present danger from aliens, why are American armed forces preparing for a UFO threat? Unsealed case file, Air Force Instruction 10-206. In 2011, shattering evidence of the Air Force's belief in UFOs is uncovered.
While investigating whether or not the military in today's world was still investigating UFOs, I discovered Air Force Manual 10-206. This was undeniable proof to me that on the books there were still instructions for reporting unidentified flying objects.
Although the public story remains that the military and the government have no interest in UFOs, Air Force Instruction 10-206 proves otherwise.
This was not a manual from the 1960s or 1970s. We now have a manual, undeniable proof that the military was still actively investigating these UFO records, these UFO reports, and these UFO sightings. That's very, very significant because that is 100% contradictory to what the military wants you to believe.
The military built to respond to the world's deadliest threats has officially placed flying saucers on the threat board. Even more shocking, they had been there for more than 40 years. In 1968, cadets at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, are issued a textbook titled Introductory Space Science. In it is a section that has become known simply as Chapter 33. Its subject, unidentified flying objects.
This book was not a work of science fiction. This was an actual military manual that was being utilized by military students, and they were being trained by this book.
Chapter 33 presents evidence that UFOs are a global phenomenon which may have persisted for thousands of years. It recognizes several explanations for these craft. Among them, the possibility that these UFOs are either manned or remote controlled by beings who are alien to this planet.
The military wants us to believe that they are completely closed-minded to the topic of UFOs. Maybe this textbook shows that they're a little bit more open to the idea than they want us to believe.
Could these pages of AF 10-206 be a smoking gun that exposes what the military is secretly preparing for? The next case shows those preparations were not enough. when the military was attacked by UFOs. Coming up next, a UFO dogfight exposes human weapons to be useless against an alien threat.
This is Unsealed Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed Alien Files.
From a reported naval battle with UFOs to the discovery of an Air Force alien defense plan, conflicts between extraterrestrials and the military are happening throughout the world. But are mankind's defenses any match for alien weaponry? Unsealed case file. Alien blackout weapons. Iran, September 19th, 1976. Authorities received multiple reports of a strange object over the capital city, Tehran. The Imperial Iranian Air Force dispatches a fighter jet to intercept. Military records from the incident describe a chilling, close encounter.
When they finally had visual contact, they asked what should we do, and the base gave them permission to fire. And just when he was ready to squeeze the trigger and fire a missile at this thing, his whole dashboard basically went dead. His cockpit went out electronically. He was still flying, but it was all disarmed. So he couldn't fire a missile, he couldn't do anything.
The Iranian jet's weapon systems have been completely disabled, rendering it helpless. At the time, no craft in existence had that kind of control jamming power. Even today, it's still the stuff of science fiction.
The object that the pilots described was very luminous. They also described multiple colored lights flashing very, very quickly on the bottom of the object. This is an amazing description in a United States government document. This is an astronomical find when trying to figure out exactly what the military might be hiding.
Can UFOs disarm the world's defenses with little or no effort at all? It's a terrifying prospect. But the Tehran incident wasn't the first time alien spaceships were reported to have disarmed our weapon systems. March 16th, 1967. America's eyes are focused on the war in Vietnam. Meanwhile, a terrifying scenario is unfolding in its own backyard. 10 nuclear warheads at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana are fully operational and waiting for launch commands. Captain Robert Salas is working 60 feet underground as part of the 490th Strategic Missile Squad. He suddenly receives a phone call from above. Hovering over the base is a UFO.
We had multiple military personnel viewing this object that was hovering directly above a missile silo that housed 10 nuclear missile warheads.
Suddenly, all 10 nuclear warheads have been disarmed, leaving them completely inoperable.
According to the official report for this incident, they do acknowledge that multiple military personnel witnessed a UFO or UFOs above the base, but it also states that there was no reasonable explanation for the silo to be shut down. If this report is true, and the UFO's presence was connected to this nuclear missile silo being shut down, what are they trying to tell us about the most dangerous weapons we have in our military arsenal?
The Malmstrom is a terrifying example of UFOs disarming humanity's most destructive weapons with no effort at all. 15 years later, they would once again toy with our nuclear weapons. Only this time, they wouldn't deactivate them, but instead push humanity to the brink of doomsday. Unsealed case file. The Ukrainian incident. 1982. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union has hit a fever pitch. Nuclear missile sites on both sides are on constant alert. On the evening of October 4th, multiple witnesses report strange lights appearing in the sky above the long-range nuclear missile base at Usovo. They perform a series of acrobatic maneuvers, but suddenly, the dazzling light show takes a terrifying turn. Below ground in the silo, control panels spring to life on their own. The missiles are preparing to launch. For 15 heart-stopping seconds, base personnel watch helplessly as the world teeters on the brink of Armageddon. But then, Just as suddenly as the launch sequence began, the system shuts down, while outside, the mysterious lights have disappeared. With so many UFO confrontations occurring between the world's militaries and UFOs, why is the truth being kept secret?
I think if the military were to capture or be given alien technology, I think they would absolutely want to keep that to themselves. I can only come up with two reasons. One, to make sure there's no mass hysteria, that people aren't going out and trying to shoot these UFOs down with their own guns. Two, and more importantly, they want to keep this technology for themselves.
Coming up next, secret plans reveal Air Force flying saucers and anti-alien weapons that all point to an incredible discovery. America could be preparing for an extraterrestrial invasion.
This is Unsealed Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed Alien Files. Throughout the 20th century, militaries around the world have experienced strange and unusual encounters with UFOs that defy explanation. And the occurrences of these confrontations is rising at an alarming rate. But where did it all begin? Was there a landmark first encounter? Los Angeles, February 24th, 1942. America has just entered World War II, and 100,000 people are awoken in the dead of night as the Army fires over 1,400 anti-aircraft rounds at what photo evidence proves to be an unidentified flying object. But officials have a very different explanation.
The United States military maintains that the object was simply a weather balloon, and yet not a single piece of evidence was ever recovered.
U.S. military run-ins with UFOs continue through decades, including the ultimate encounter, the Army's alleged recovery of a downed alien aircraft in Roswell, New Mexico.
July 8th, 1947. The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
These encounters bear an uncanny resemblance to other military standoffs with UFOs over South America, Iran, China, Russia, and countless other places around the world. But why have these incidents been steadily rising since the Second World War? The answer only seems to raise more disturbing questions.
We've been spending billions of dollars on our military budget for advancing our technology. And it's only now, in the last 10, 20 years, that we've been able to capture evidence of these UFOs and even, according to some people, engage them in combat. And maybe the real question is where this technology came from in the first place.
Unsealed case file, America's flying saucers. Officially, the United States government has never admitted to recovering a UFO or researching alien spacecraft to develop human weaponry. But new evidence may show otherwise.
Many of the declassified documents that are surfacing even today are showing technology that was on the drawing board and even being built by our military that can only be described as flying saucers.
In 2012, declassified files from the National Archives revealed schematics for a secret U.S. Air Force prototype known as Project 1794, a flying disc capable of vertical takeoff or landing, or VTOL.
If plans for 1794 had actually come to fruition, we could have been looking at the first aircraft capable of actually outmaneuvering other UFOs. The projections clearly show that it's capable of speeds up to 2,600 miles per hour and can shoot through the stratosphere. It could have flown from New York to Miami in only 24 minutes.
But Project 1794 was not alone. Some designs, like those for Project Silverbug, were also discovered in military files. And others, like the Avro car, had test footage revealed to the public.
Think about the power and technology that our military could have utilized if 1794 came off the drawing boards. It didn't need a runway. You could store them in some underground installation with a small opening where these things would take off straight up in the air and be able to fight in a conflict. So this technology was something that the military, I think, really wanted, not only at the time, but probably even today.
Some believe the design for these discs was recovered from Nazi aircraft designed to launch from the cratered runways of World War II. But could these UFO-like military craft have their roots in alien intelligence?
We still see the influence of flying saucers and UFOs in today's military technology. In fact, many civilians who have seen this military technology being transported on the freeway or even being tested will report these craft as being UFOs.
What does it look like?
A UFO? I mean, I don't really know. I don't see too many UFOs in the regular.
I mean, does it look like a spaceship?
Yeah.
Everything from stealth technology to sonic weapons could have been extracted from alien knowledge. The real question here is whether our military is trying to protect us from humans or from some sort of alien threat.
Is it possible the American military is preparing itself to fend off an extraterrestrial menace?
I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Many political leaders have talked about the possibility of ET presence here on Earth.
One such political leader is Paul Hellyer. Hellyer is the former Canadian Minister of Defense and could be one of the most qualified individuals ever to speak on the alien presence. Hellyer was recently quoted. The reality is that aliens have been visiting Earth for decades and probably millennia and have contributed considerably to our knowledge. But could this government insider also know the truth of a looming military conflict with an alien race?
Paul Hellyer also shared information about the United States that could very well expose the idea that we are preparing for an epic war of the worlds.
Coming up next, the shocking confession about plans for a real-life Death Star and the distant battlefield where Earth's fate may ultimately be decided. This is Unsealed Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed Alien Files. The time to act is now. There are 3 simple steps you can take to unseal the truth.
Follow on Twitter.
Follow the Unsealed Twitter feed to receive breaking news of the latest alien happenings as they develop.
Tell your story.
Have you seen a UFO?
Whatever we encountered affected our memory.
Upload stories and pictures to our interactive map.
Join the movement.
Get the Unsealed bracelet and the unique code hidden underneath to access exclusive content. Stop living in the dark.
It is definitely coming this way.
Get involved in the fight to unseal the truth. Now. UFO experts have often speculated about secret preparations to combat a possible alien invasion. But former Canadian Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer has indicated that the United States may already have a defense outpost for an interplanetary war.
According to Hellyer, Dick Cheney and George Bush were giving permission for the U.S. military and government to build a base on the moon.
Could the moon be Earth's first line of defense from cosmic enemies?
Having a base on the moon might prepare us for a military battle with an ET presence. Obviously, if they're coming from space, that might give us a strategic stronghold to wage battle.
If these stories are true, alien conflict is on the rise around the globe. Could we soon be under worldwide attack by an extraterrestrial intelligence? If so, the militaries of the world may one day be called upon to band together for a final stand as a united army of planet Earth. This is Unsealed Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth.